Right, welcome back to my channel, YouTubers. Would like to do a 1-year review of my Honda CRF300L with its accessories I've purchased, and just let you get a feel of all the updates I've done, and maybe you might want to go in this route as well. So basically, there's a variance of modifications I've done to the bike so far in the last 10 months. Here in Quebec, you can't really ride over the winter, so it's basically some of the stuff I did over the winter. And I'll give you my honest opinion on what I think of the parts and accessories I put on my equipment, on my bike. And hopefully it will give you an idea maybe what you would like to upgrade on your bike. So the first thing I ever did was I changed the stock handlebar to a Renthal. And I know a lot of people go to the Pro Taper as well. Those are options as well. But I did go to the Renthal, and it seems to be working very well. I've crashed this bike many times, and it hasn't bent. It stayed in position. The clamps have held it perfectly. The next option I did was I changed the grips to Renthal, and I added on some of these little foam pads on the ends to help against cushioning when you're riding. So just quickly stepping back into the handlebar, this is the stock handlebar, and you could see compared to the Renthal, it is much smaller in diameter. There's less of a rise, so when I'm off-roading, I get more of a height since I have a higher rise with the Renthal. And it's also a thinner tubing handlebar, so therefore you'd probably end up bending this bar a lot easier. I'd like to thank Woodsman Adventures and Motorcycles Off-Road channels, because this is where I got a lot of my ideas from, especially the Sprockets here from Motorcycles Off-Road. So this here is the OEM Sprocket. It's a 40 tooth. And going on with Motorcycles Off-Road, the way he's upgraded his 300L and his Rally now as well, he always upgrades to a bigger sprocket. And by going to a bigger sprocket, you're going to get more torque, but less overall high-end performance on speed. So you're going to have a trade-off from speed to torque. And since I am predominantly using this motorcycle for off-road use, I decided to upgrade it to a 45 tooth sprocket instead of the 40 tooth. So I'm getting about 5% more torque roughly, and 5% drop and high-end speed. That will then, plus you have from the IRCs, I went with Moton's Rally's Tractionators, just for a much better handling in the dirt compared to the OEMs. The OEMs are a 70 road 30 dirt, and this is a 10 road 90% dirt. I've had this now on for 3,400 and some kilometers. I've worn down maybe a quarter of an inch off the lug. So I got 3/8 left. So I probably could get maybe at least 1,000, maybe 1,500 more kilometers on this tire. And the front here as well is starting to cup, as you can see, raking towards the back. And that's probably me doing a lot of hard braking on the asphalt when I'm traveling to and from the trails. Unfortunately, where I live, it's minimum an hour away to 2 hours away to get to any trails. So I'm pretty sure this is all due to road use, not the trail use. So as Motorcycles Road mentioned, he has an excellent video on how to upgrade your sprocket. And at the same time, if I'll remove the seat here, I've removed a few things already in advance so that we can take a look at things. So by changing the sprocket, I installed a Speedo Healer. And a Speedo Healer, what it does is it's a yoke cable that goes all the way into the front. It's hard to see, but it's basically way up in here, the connector for your speedometer and your ECM. And what you're doing is you're splitting that connector to go to the Speedo Healer. And then you're able to recalibrate your speedometer depending on the gear ratio you're changing your bike to. So I followed the online instructions for the Speedo Healer, and I got a ballpark number, and I tested it with my GPS on the highway, and I was still way out. So I ended up using the GPS to correct my speedometer exactly to the kilometer I need. So when I'm doing 80 kilometers an hour, it says 80 kilometers here, and those flashing road signs confirm that exactly. That when I'm doing 60, 80, or 100, that's exactly what I'm doing. So the next upgrade I did is I put on handguards. And originally, I started off with a service, because I see a lot of guys with the Honda are putting a service on their bikes, and they seem to be really good in the beginning until you really started to hit things like trees or crashing into things. So it's pretty much the same style, but I ended up changing to the Cycras, just for the fact that the aluminum bar here is at least 3/8 of an inch thick. I don't know in millimeters, yet here you think it's thick, but it's not. It's a quarter of an inch thick, the aluminum bar in here. The majority of it's just covered with this plastic to beef it up. So the big issue I had was crashing. And when you crash, this is the lock pin that goes into the tube of your motorcycle. And every time you'd crash and the bar would pivot up and down and you'd have to fix it again, the clamps, the teeth would constantly just break off. So you would have to buy new ones. I know they sell them on websites to get replacement parts for this, but it just got to the point that it was being bent out of shape nonstop, and I had to try and fix it in the bush. So I upgraded to the Cycras, and I've had a bunch of big crashes on them so far, and not one bend at all in them. They've stayed perfectly in position. Right now, for the next option, of course, I got rid of the mirrors. I put on these little funky mirrors here. A lot of people say you can't see much out of them. Well, it's a little parabolic mirror, about 1.5 inches in diameter. And yeah, you don't see much behind you, but you do see an object. You will see a car with the headlights at a distance. And basically, it's just an indicator for me to see what's behind me. Otherwise, I always do a head check regardless of what's going on to assure there's nothing behind me before I make a turn or do anything. So this is just to give you a rough idea. And then, of course, you just fold them out of the way when you're on the trail, and that way they don't break. The other thing I got rid of was right here was the OEM clutch and brake lever. And as you could see, if I would have left the OEM brake lever on, it wouldn't even fit with the handguards. Even the Acerbis, they didn't fit. So these are off Amazon. They're really inexpensive. It does a perfect job, fully adjustable. It has a spring return here, so if you hit anything from behind, it won't break. And I have nothing but great praise for this little grip they sell on Amazon for, I think it was $68 or something like that I paid for it. This is the clutch side now with the full mounting bracket. But I really didn't like it because I ended up not being able to use one finger or two fingers still. It was still long and I would be hitting my fingers. So I just recently changed it as well to another Amazon grip lever. So now I could use one finger. I have it adjusted for one finger. Friction point is right here. And if I really want, I could extend my two fingers, allowing me to keep at least 2 or 3 fingers on my handlebar all the time. So that was one aspect that I really enjoyed. The next thing is that because there's a switch in the OEM handle, the wire, which is here, to make the contact, is you just put a jumper in the terminal and you're good to go with that. That's no big deal. The next option I upgraded was a GARMIN GPS 66i with the SOS function. So when I'm trail riding in the bush and I have no cell contact, I have my GARMIN GPS here. I could log my trails. The next option was the AXP bash plate, engine guard, crankcase guard, wherever you want to call them. It's in 1/4 inch heavy PVC plastic or polyurethane plastic. I have beaten on this thing pretty good. It has not cracked. It's protected everything. It's lighter than aluminum. It's quieter than aluminum when you're getting the resonation from the engine back up to you. The other thing I added to it was the linkage guard. So that was an option, an extra. I think it was $66 or something for that. And at the same time, I bought the AXP rack because it's got these nice hand grips. So when you're sideways on your bike or upside down, it gives you another grab point to help get your bike upright. The other thing I had purchased is on Amazon is this little tail tidy to get rid of the OEM thing that sticks out way down here. Makes the bike look really ugly, I think. So this wasn't expensive. It tucks in nice and neat. Works perfect. There's 2 holes for your reflectors to keep everything legal. Little reflectors here in the back for your license plate. And you're good to go. Other than that, all my bags I've upgraded to Nelson rigs because I think that's a high-tech gear, very solid, very robust. This bag's been through a lot of abuse. This one here is normally I keep for my 32-ounce water bottle, and this one here I have a 1-liter gas fuel canister in here in case I run out on the trail, which I haven't yet, but it's always good to have some spare gas. This I just recently picked up on Amazon as well. It's the smallest one they make for the bike. It's perfect. I put my food, my snacks, whatnot, and the other one I can put my camera gear in. And apart from that, that's about all the upgrades I've done to it. Oh, sorry, not all. Sorry. The biggest upgrade I did over the winter is I put in Rally Raid shocks. So the front is a kit that goes in the OEM tubes, and then the rear is a full shock completely installed, and it's very easy to do. You undo your linkage bolt, allows your wheel to fall down, then you undo your bolt here for the shock, and then undo your top bolt in here for the upper part of the shock, and you just slide it up through the bottom. And the biggest pain was adjusting the preload when the shock's mounted. So I don't know if I can get a good view in here. Yeah, I sort of beat the ring. It's hard to see, I guess. I beat the ring a little bit. There it is. By using a punch and hammer, because the tool they give you, it's like a screwdriver with the point, and you can't get in there. It's impossible. You basically have to remove the shock every time you want to adjust the spring preload. So that was an order. And same with the top. There's a little the dampening screws at the top. So if you really want to spend the extra money, it'd be worth it to put the dampening module on this side of the bike. I think it fits right over here. It'd allow you to change your dampening a lot easier than having to take your shock off. But so far, everything's been good for me, so I haven't really had a problem. I think I can probably see it right up there behind this wire. Way at the top of the shock there, the little knob. So it's kind of hard to get at that. And then here, the Rally Raid has the full adjustment here at the top for dampening and rebound. And if you are going to use this bike for trails, I definitely recommend changing your shocks. Get rid of that Honda pogo sticks because you're out of control when you're on the trails. So the next is the little Relson Riggs front fender bag. Is basically this here. I have a spare inner tube, patch kit, my tongs, and a valve stem puller. So it's basically a little cable that you pass through your valve stem hole here and threads inside where your valve normally is, and it helps you feed your valve through your rim, and it takes literally seconds before the job is completed. I also installed rim locks, because that is the other thing I've noticed a few times. Keeping the tire at 22 psi off-road, you tend to bounce a lot, less grip also. So by airing down to 15 psi, 14 psi, you get a much better tire grip and profile in sand and mud, and the bike just runs like a charm. So those are all my upgrades so far. I will do a review down the road. I just bought some Dunlop D606, and I have a brand new set of Motaz Rallies as well. So I'm going to compare them once this is done with the Dunlops on, and I'll do a tire review on that down the road later on. So I'll have links below to all the products I put on this bike. Feel free to ask me any questions, and I'll respond to you. So thanks again for watching, and look for the next YouTube video.